I do first of all want to thank Tom and Mark for making this evening possible, and y'all, see I'm learning, aren't I? I want to thank y'all for coming this evening. I know every single one of you have had a really busy day with your patients and your clients, so the fact that you could join us tonight and make it happen, we're truly, truly grateful. And I also want to thank Dr. Larry, because I know it was also you helped book the location here, which I think is fabulous, by the way. I've spoken in some pubs around the country, and it's pretty interesting, let me tell you. I've competed with lounge singers as well. I took that guy down, though, I want you to know. Didn't break any bones or anything. But anyway, suffice to say, this is a fabulous turnout, so thank you. Just to touch on a little bit about green science, it's a fascinating area because it really ensures that everything we're doing from seed to shelf ensures that we're not harming not just human health but our planet as well, because of course we're only as healthy as our environment and the food that we're eating. So I hope it doesn't sound like I wear Birkenstocks and, you know, sort of a potato sack. I actually don't. But that people's misconception about green science, I just want to sort of put that right. So I'll chat a little bit more about myself, but I'll sort of kick it off, if that's okay. And for any of you who are really familiar with quality programming such as Benny Hill Show or even Monty Python, yes, y'all have been watching that, I know you have. And there was even some of it actually in Upstairs, Downstairs, those programs I know that are really popular here on American TV. You'll know that, I don't know why, but us Brits are obsessed with bodily functions and the noises that come from them. Don't be alarmed, I'm not going to do anything, but it might well explain why I'm going to start in the bathroom. Now, can you see that okay? We have to have the lights on because we've got a film crew here, so I hope you can see that. But I think it's fair to say that we are absolutely obsessed with personal care products, and they play such a vital role in our everyday lives. Now, the other sort of sick obsession that I have is I always like to know how many products people are using in their bathroom. So I have very kind individuals who send me pictures, and she even numbered it actually. But as you can see, this lady here uses 9 products. This is just in the morning. So she's showering her body, she's washing her hair, she uses 2 different shampoos, she's conditioning it, she's cleansing her face in the shower as well. She's very versatile, very multi-talented here. This is another lady who sent a picture. These are just her products. This is not her partner's products. As you can see, there's about 9 or 12. She's exfoliating, she's doing all sorts of things. And you know what? This is not uncommon. You would be shocked at how many pictures people have sent me where they've gutted. Is that what your bathroom is like? This is Mark's bathroom. No, I'm just kidding. Guilty as charged. This is just a young couple, and she took everything out of her cupboards, of the drawers. She put it all around the sink, and then she very proudly took a picture to send me. Very proud of it all, yeah. But this is not unusual, as Tom Jones once said, bless him. So again, I think it's really, I think we can confidently say that personal care products play a vital role in our lives, just as much as food. Now, have any of you heard of the Environmental Working Group? Okay, fabulous organization. Well, they did a study because they wanted to find out, well, how many products do men use, how many products do women use a day? And after their study, they found that women use 12 products per day and men use 6. Where I come from in Los Angeles, I think it's more like men are using 12 and women are using 24. But if you actually assume that we're bathing every day, you times that by 365, that's just under 47,000 unique chemical ingredients just from personal care products alone that we are exposing our bodies to. Now that's 12 a day, but I think it's more like 24 if you take into account the makeup, the fragrance, hairspray, the whole 10 yards. So let's just double it. That is significant, and it's this accumulative effect that has many healthcare organizations and healthcare individuals like yourself truly concerned for the health of their patients. So if we're cleaning up patients' diets, if we're cleaning up their supplements, I think we really need to take notice of what's lurking in their bathroom. 26 seconds, apparently, it was a scientific study. That's all it takes for those ingredients to penetrate the skin. Now, there's a lot of numbers bandied around on the internet. I've seen 100%, 60%, 50%. But the truth is there is not one study in existence that actually can pinpoint how many of those chemicals enter the bloodstream. But we know it does because you only have to think of nicotine patches, hormonal patches, to understand that a certain percentage enters the bloodstream. And here again from the Environmental of Oncology, this is very, very disturbing. I know you can all read it, and of course the slides will be available. But this is why a lot of doctors are up in arms when they find out that there is no standards in existence in the USA for personal care products. In Europe, it was initiated in 1976. And it's actually been updated and amended no less than 55 times. And that's because there's constantly new ingredients coming out onto the market. So in Europe, they want to make sure that those ingredients are safe for human use. Now, here in America, you've banned 5. I wish it was 10, actually, but you've banned 5 and you've restricted 3. And because of the definition that the FDA have put in place of what a cosmetic or a personal care product is, it means that you don't have to have any standards. It just beautifies the skin. That's all it's doing. Now, we've got it's about a 4-minute animation on our website. So if you want to go on our website and just check this animation out, it has a lot more information on it, and it actually goes into far greater detail. Also, if you're an American company, you can actually set up shop. You can order whatever ingredients you want. You can test on animals if you want. As you know, animal testing is banned in Europe. You can put that out onto the marketplace, and nobody will do anything unless there is enough complaints. But it has to be substantial in order for the FDA to get involved. So I think that's pretty scary, that you can just set up shop and put anything in those products and just push it out onto the market. So that equates to 80% of ingredients in personal care products have never, ever been tested for safety. And that's why I keep going on about European standards, because if any of you are familiar with the campaign for safe cosmetics, maybe some of you know, not familiar, I would actually encourage you to go onto their website. It's a consortium of the Breast Cancer Fund, and then you have the Environmental Working Group. They're doing the job that the FDA should be doing. They're out there campaigning for safer cosmetics, and they have a plethora of studies from doctors, from scientists that actually have discovered parabens in breast tissue of women, and the list goes on and on and on. So it's very, very disturbing. We signed up to pledge not to use any chemicals, not because we were using chemicals, but because their gold standard is the EU Cosmetic Directive standards. That's what they think the FDA should have in place here in the USA. So we worked with them in the early days to share what was going on in Europe. And then we actually were awarded champion status, which was really fantastic. But still, it's very, very disturbing. So if you have patients with breast cancer or a low immune system, you really don't want any of these ingredients, you know, in their bathroom, because a lot of women buy products for their other halves, for their family, and they do it unknowingly because it's a lot to take in what's going on in the industry. Now, with rising concern with the ingredients in our personal care products, comes an increase in the demand for cleaner, safer formulas. But what that has now generated is something called greenwashing. It's where they're walking the talk, but they're not talking the talk, basically. And there is so much of that going on. And I've actually spoken at many sustainability conferences alongside doctors like Dr. David Perlmutter. And we put a conference together where we wanted to get all these beauty buyers in from QVC, HSN, Nordstrom, etc., because these individuals are in such amazing positions of power. But I have to tell you, hand on heart, they really don't care about the safety factor of the products that are in their shops. It's more about how much money they're making. So they don't want to hear that, you know, this could cause cancer or this has any sort of detrimental effects to their health. And actually, we did do a few shows with QVC. We're invited to come on. But they said to me, we don't want you talking about anything to do with chemicals, nothing negative. The airtime is just for sell, sell, sell. You think, well, it's about educating, surely. That's why we spent, you know, 2 decades doing this. But if I had done that, it would have impacted their other brands in a very negative way, and they didn't want it. So we decided not to continue with them. But you can see how much the industry is worth. By 2015, next year, it's worth over $19 billion. And it's that segment of organic and natural. And I hate using those words because, to me, when you use that word with a product, you instantly think, oh, okay, it's nice having something so natural, but is it going to give me those same results? And that's what I want to prove to you later, that yes, it absolutely can. So another little thing that we like doing on the weekends is going into stores that are selling topical products and just asking them, you know, can you give me some advice on a particular product for a particular skin issue? So this was me, and I did tell a white lie because I actually don't have a young daughter. My twin boys are 33 years of age, so I did tell a little white lie. Sorry. So here was my question. My young daughter has rosacea. What can you recommend to clear it up? Are you ready? This is what I was told. Have her use this top-selling fake tan from Clarins. It's all natural, and everyone is raving about it. Now let's look at those ingredients, shall we? Well, we've got tons of silicone. We have a penetration enhancer right at the propylene glycol right there, the butylene glycol, another penetration enhancer. And guess what we have at the bottom there? We have the whole family of parabens. Do you think that was good advice? No, please say no. Good, no it wasn't. But this particular brand was actually offering an incentive for all the sales reps that month. So it was, let's push Clarins Fake Tan for that month. Now, for a world cruise, $1 billion trillion, what store was I in? Sorry, Mark, you might have to write a big check shortly, but I'm sure they can afford it. Where do you think I was? What store? I think I just heard it. No, begins with S. Yes. You've won a lot of money and a nice cruise, so that's where I was. I was in Sephora. Okay, one more. This is fun. I have sensitive skin and want something natural and very gentle, emphasis on very gentle, to brighten my skin. Now let's look at the advice I got. Try this Murad Lightning Serum. It's all natural. Meaning they use a lot of botanicals, and it contains 2% hydroquinone. And it's a top seller because it works, and that is what you want, right? Well, first of all, that would not be very gentle on sensitive skin. And number two, that's banned in Europe. And again, if you want any information on why it's banned, etc., just please let Tom or Mark or myself know, and I'll get you that information. And here's the ingredients. Right behind water, you've got denatured alcohol, very harsh, very drying. And then you've got the penetration enhancer there, and then right at the top, you've got the hydroquinone. I wouldn't actually say that that's all natural, because it's not. Now, we might have run out of money, the cruise may not be there, but just to impress all your other colleagues, where do you think I was? Where was I? What shop was I in, or store was I in when I got that really bad advice? Begins with S. Yes. Why is Karen picking on Sephora? Well, it's kind of interesting because in their community blog, they actually asked everybody who is a member of that, hey, how much do you spend a month? Now, this is just 3. There were thousands upon thousands upon thousands. You've got one lady spending on average $200, another between $215 and $250. Now, admittedly, they sell other things other than topical products. They sell makeup, they sell fragrance. But when you break it out, the average that a woman spends on topical products or skincare products is on average $120 to $150 a month. And this is interesting. I wanted you to see this because there were two ladies that have been beauty sales reps for years and years and years. Sorry, did you have a question? Oh, you're just waving at me. And what they did after they finished working there was they did basically a tell-all story, and it was very interesting. This is just some bullet points, but the whole interview is actually on that link at the bottom. But I want to draw your attention to that bullet point number 4, because when you go into a department store, you see a lot of salespeople in white coats. And they put them in white coats because they appear to be experts, or they're credible. So you gravitate towards that person in hope that you're going to get help and you're going to get good advice. So essentially, they're kind of taking your job, don't you think? So for anyone who feels that, oh, no, the skin belongs to the beauty industry, please don't separate the skin from the body, because the skin is a mirror of our health and what's going on internally. And there are so many skin issues which are connected to our gut, connected to bad bacteria. And honestly, and it's not just me saying it, the beauty industry have created a health crisis because there's no standards in place, and it is a big giant free-for-all. So if you recap, we have to worry about toxic ingredients, carcinogenic ingredients. You also have to be mindful of gluten. If any of you have any patients who are sensitive to gluten, you need to make sure that they're not using any products with gluten-containing ingredients, because maybe that's why you can't quite pinpoint, why there's an issue. And if you want a real full list of all of the gluten-containing ingredients in personal care, I actually have that. It is available on the website, and you can either send that to your patient or you can just look for yourself. And then we also have to be mindful of GMOs. I don't know if any of you are aware or not, but over 93% of the soy that's grown here in America is from GMO. That's huge. So if you're using an American brand, and I hate saying it, but it's true, if you're using an American brand and there is actually soy extract in there, whether it's in hair or a body product or a facial product, you've got a 93% chance that that has come from a GMO source. And I want to touch on something else because I've had lots of questions about this. Stem cells. I know it's big in skincare today, but it's always a good question to ask the provider of your products, what is the origin? There's a very big public lawsuit going on right now with a very famous brand who use human fibroblasts. I won't actually mention their name, but it's pretty relevant because nobody knew the origin of these particular stem cells. They actually originate from the foreskins of baby infant boys. I'm sorry if anyone's eating, but I know that y'all want to know this information. That's an unethical area for me, because what most people don't understand is there is a company that goes around to hospitals and they're buying up these foreskins and the parents don't know. I mean, I've had boys, I had them circumcised, and you just assume that they are getting rid of that. But no, there's a lot of hospitals who are selling this. And again, if you want evidence of that, I can send you links and I can send you paperwork that supports that. You also need to be a little bit mindful of any stem cells that are PSP, processed skin proteins. That's got a pretty nasty story behind it, and I can share that with you at the end. It's a little bit disturbing. So, moral of the story is, if anything contains stem cells, ask of the origin. This I get asked about a lot because in skincare, body care and hair care, this is used as a sensorial ingredient, and it's called dimethicone or silicone, and there is multiple variations of this. It's used primarily because when you open up a product that contains silicone, it feels very velvety, soft, like sort of melted butter. So that sends a signal to the brain that, oh, my skin's going to feel very velvety and very soft. There's two camps. There's one group of doctors that don't like it, and then there's others that think there's no problem with it. But there's studies that have been conducted that show when you use dimethicone on the surface of the skin, it does inhibit the skin's ability to breathe. The other thing is if you have a patient who has acne or who is acne prone, it's not the best ingredient to put on their skin because it's trapping in moisture. That's what it's essentially designed to do, is to trap water in the skin to keep the skin hydrated. You're trapping in moisture, you're trapping in heat, and guess what else you're trapping in? Bacteria. Yeah. So that's the perfect storm, really, for anyone who is acne prone to exasperate their problems. Anyone who's gone to the gin and tonic, gosh, trust me, sorry. Gym. I bet you, does anyone want a gin tea? What happens is they put that on their body, they go to the gym, they're perspiring like crazy, and then they end up with a red rash all over their body. Then they figure out what the heck's going on here. It's the dimethicone, because the skin can't breathe. The moisture on the surface of the skin can't evaporate, so it builds up. So that's my little sort of 2 minutes on dimethicone. That's actually a true statement. Life on Earth would not be possible without skin. The average human being goes around with about 8 pounds in weight. So when anyone ever stands on the scales, deduct 8 pounds, because that's what I do. It makes a big difference. Huge difference. So about 8 pounds in weight, that measures about 22 square feet. And because I am in metric, I keep quoting 22 square meters. Not good. That's not a pretty sight, trust me. 22 square meters of skin. And without this fleshy covering, we would positively evaporate. Now, the skin performs several very important functions. As you can see up here, it allows moisture to come in and oxygen. It allows us to regulate our body temperature. And it also lets us know when we experience pain or pleasure. And, of course, it's home to about 1 trillion bacteria that live on the skin. 1 trillion, that's significant. And it's a mixture of both good and bad. And of course, many people tend to separate the skin. And I keep thinking, no, we focus on the gut health, good bacteria. But there's another organ, our body's largest organ, that is truly dependent on its microbiome. And without this, there's a whole lot of problems that can ensue. So, I know you're all familiar with internally, ideally we need to be alkaline to function in a healthy way, but that's not the place for the skin. That's not a good place for the skin at all. The skin needs to be in a mildly acidic environment, and that's about between 4.5 and 5. There's a lot of information, again, on the internet that actually quotes that skin's optimal place, or pH balance, which has no meaning at all. Bit like hypoallergenic. What is that? It doesn't mean anything. That's what it means. You'll see 5.5 or 6. There are a lot of studies, and again, if you want these, I'm very happy sharing them with you. But there are so many studies that exist, and recent studies as well, as early as last year, that actually, no, we've changed our way of thinking. It needs to be under pH 5 in order to function in a healthy way. That's a little bit fuzzy, sorry about that, but that is actually a slide of someone who's been using products for a long time. She thought she was doing the best thing, very expensive ingredients, but the formula was alkaline. Now, alkalinity is not good for the skin because it makes it very dry, very brittle. And of course, because you're losing that mild acidity, the skin has no way to defend itself. The skin is reliant upon the acid coating because most environmental contaminants are alkaline by nature. So when that pathogen comes into contact with the skin is able to, one, trigger its immune system, and secondly, it's able to diffuse that alkaline pathogen using its acidic coating. Now, I don't know if you can read it, it might be a little bit light, but this was an 8-year study. This is just one of many, and this was, believe it or not, conducted by P&G Life Sciences, Dr. Greg Hillibrand. it was over 8 years, and what they did, they had 2 control study groups, one that was using the alkaline products, then the other group were using mildly acidic products. What they found is that those individuals using the mildly acidic formulas actually aged 50% less than their counterparts. So not only is mild acidity really good, healthy for our bodies, it's also an amazing anti-aging deterrent, which I think is fantastic. For anyone who doesn't believe that smoking ages you, here are twins. The one on the left never smoked a day in her life. The one on the right smoked quite a bit. But as you can see, the damage that actually is taking place. So if you have any patients that smoke, and besides the health implication, if they are concerned about their looks later in life, you can always borrow this slide to shock them. So there's a tremendous amount of activities that we do on a daily basis that really changes this environment, this tormented landscape on our skin. Detoxing, yes, it's very, very good for us, but as we go through a detox, a lot of those wastes that are thrown off through the pores of the skin are very acidic by nature. So that can make the skin become very sensitive, and it can even actually burn it. We actually have pictures that show that. So if you have a patient who's going through a detox, it's important that you help them to keep their skin mildly acidic so that they can transition through their detox. If you have any patients on a cholesterol-lowering drug, you know, a statin, what happens is that statin does a great job of removing cholesterol from the blood, but it also removes cholesterol that's present on the surface of the skin. So patients may sometimes sort of say to you, my skin feels really dry. So what happens is they go out, they buy a rich moisturizer, they put that on their skin, but it's just temporary, because when they go to wash their skin in the evening, you still have dry skin. Diuretics as well, that pulls moisture from the skin, so it makes it very dry. So the emphasis really here again is on mildly acidic products that are supporting the right pH, and obviously topical prebiotics. And I just wanted to give you a little visual. Mild acidity is a bit like the Pac-Man effect. It goes around taking all the bad and it just leaves the good, because it has an enzymatic action. And mild acidity helps the skin to look brighter. That's one thing as we get older. We want our skin to look bright like it did when we were youthful and much younger. Mild acidity doesn't allow for any dead skin cell build up on the surface of the epidermis. It's continually exfoliating, if you like. It's keeping the skin clear of all that debris. So it automatically makes your skin look brighter. Same with wrinkles. We know from that clinical study from Dr. Hillebrand, using mildly acidic products also has a vanity benefit as well. And alkaline products, it ages us. And it can create sick skin because it's alkaline. The skin has no defense mechanism. The other thing, I wanted to show you these next few slides because I frequently get asked, what do SkinCeuticals and these other 2 brands have in common? Well, this first one was obviously purchased by L'Oreal in 2009. And unfortunately, Dr. Pinnell passed away last year. But this particular product contains 15% L-ascorbic acid, and I know many of you are probably familiar with that. The cons on this, because I was asked, is basically the packaging. It's that dropper bottle. So every time you're taking the cap off of that bottle, you're exposing it to what? Yes, air and light. So that's probably why they actually recommend that you use it within 3 months. I don't know, if I paid $153, I'd want that to last 3 years because I'm half Scottish. But another little thing that we do is if a company makes a claim, we check it out, particularly for some doctors who want to know a little bit more. So we made 3 calls to the company and we said, oh, you don't do any animal testing, we're interested in your line, is that true? And on 3 occasions, yes, we have never tested any ingredients, or we have never tested our finished products on animals. The reason why we're asking is because on their website, they actually carried out a penetration study of the L-ascorbic acid, and there was a veterinary college involved. Now, for some of you, this may trouble you, but others you might think, oh, so what? It's no harm done. that for anyone who is bothered by stuff like this, and maybe your patients, it's good to know. So, no, 3 times. Really? There was an animal experiment done, and they used these gorgeous little piglets, and they performed bunch biopsy studies on their backs. And most times when you use animals in these environments, they euthanize them afterwards because nobody wants to use a used lab animal. So that's rather unfortunate. So to me, that was a strike against them. Even if anyone thinks they have great products, if somebody lies about something like that, then you think, well, what else are they hiding? So this is the second product. This contains 15% ascorbic acid, and this is sort of more the native form. And used at such a high percentage, it can create sensitivity in sensitive skins. Now, you'll also notice that same packaging. This has to be used within 3 months, and you have to use this at a pH 3 like the other product, because that's when it's most effective, when it's really acidic. pH 3, that's something that a dermatologist or a doctor would use in their office to perform, say, a chemical peel. So you can imagine that's, ouch. And here's Phyto C, exactly the same 15% L-ascorbic acid. So what do they all have in common? Well, this company here, Dr. Omar, was actually private labeling to those other companies. And that's why there is that whole connection with them. So I just wanted to clear that up in case anyone had that question. So I just want to take you through, and I could talk for days and days and days. I could talk for England about this subject, because to me, it's a very important subject, our environment and what we do. But I'm not going to do that to you. I've just selected 3 slides. There's like, oh God, thank gosh for that. So I think it's important, you know, that we go through the guarantee, which is we will never produce anything that's toxic or has a negative health implication on a human being, that we're gluten-free, GMO-free, that we're also 100% biodegradable, which I'll share with you a bit later. And as you can see, we are always, always, always EU Cosmetics Directive compliant. Now, we import about 95% of all of our ingredients because we manufacture in California. But because we have a lab and our 2 farms are over there, we import everything because we want full transparency and full traceability of every single ingredient. Just like you would expect in food, you want to know where your food comes from. So why would you not want to know where those ingredients come from that you're putting on your skin? This is important to us, ethical, and just to give you a little tiny sort of example of that, we grow as much as we can on our farm, and I know all the jokes about the British weather, rainy, cold, and it's true, we can only grow so much, but then we have to bring in these botanicals from other countries. So when we do that, we always go through a fair trade supplier. Is anyone familiar with fair trade? If you're buying food from Whole Foods as an example, or Trader Joe's, you see the Fair Trade logo on there. That basically means that when you are purchasing that particular ingredient from that supplier, that they are receiving a fair wage or a fair amount of money, that they are not being taken care of. Excuse me, let me reword that. Rewind. That they are being taken care of. Very, very important. Sustainability, well, we grow all of, like I said, we grow as much as we can, but all of our extracts are made in Staffordshire and Herefordshire, and I'll actually show you a little video shortly. And again, we do that because we can guarantee the quality, we know where it's come from, we know what the weather was on that day. Again, clean products. And it's important that we have traceability. So everything from seed to shelf, we know exactly where it came from, full transparency, nothing's hidden. The other thing I just want to point out is on labels here in America, an American brand does not have to reveal every single ingredient in that formula. So as an example, with an extract, if there are parabens in that extract, let's say it's nettle extract, that you're putting in your finished product. If there's parabens in that extract, you don't have to declare that because you didn't physically put it in there. In Europe, you have to break out every single ingredient that was in that extract. So everything has to be listed. Now that's called full transparency, and that's what's lacking here because of the laws. And then you see ingredients like moisturizing factor. It's like, what is that when it's at home? What's in that? And then they're very resistant in sharing that information with you. Just wanted to point that out. So we have 2 farms. This one particular one I'm going to show you is where the extracts are made. It was taken on a very, very cold December day, so that's why those little green things are missing off the trees. But I'm going back tomorrow and we have made another one, so hopefully you enjoy that. This lasts a couple of minutes and this guy sounds a little bit like a BBC correspondent, so hopefully you'll enjoy this, I hope. Could you possibly put the light down for me? Oh, let's is it going to work? Fingers crossed. Woohoo, Houston. Might have to just sort of tap it. There we go. Thanks.
As you can see, the farm is set in the rolling hills of Herefordshire in the west of England, and it's made up of a mosaic of fields, woodland, streams, hedgerows, and wild areas. We have been growing and processing herbs here for the last 30 years, and during that time the farm has become certified organic, and we have won a number of major national awards for combining commercial farming with wildlife, something which is very close to our hearts. And this is where all the phyto extracts are made, and many of the botanicals used are either wild harvested here or grown on the farm. This part of Herefordshire is renowned for its apple and hop orchards, and at one time every farm in Herefordshire had its own small apple and hop orchard. And here at Castle Farm we've got the remnants of an old apple and pear orchard which we've replanted using only old varieties. So it's probably now appropriate that we look at Sir Phyto's concentrated apple extract, which is made using only organic apples from local orchards and from those in Kent. Here in our sophisticated extract factory, the apples are being crushed, and as you can see, nothing is wasted because we use the entire apple. This ensures that we extract all the goodness from its flesh, skin, and even the pits. Apples are the original superfood because they're a great source of polyphenols, which are mostly found in the fruit skins. Indeed, analytical tests have shown that apple skin extracts containing high levels of polyphenols score higher than any other water-soluble antioxidant on the ORAC scale. Polyphenols are large, complex molecules found almost exclusively in plant products. They possess unique chemical characteristics that include the ability to block oxidative damage. It is this damage that leads to skin inflammation and the biological aging of tissue. Here you can see the finished extract, which has gone through our unique extraction process. And when applied directly to the skin, it feels fresh and does not leave a sticky residue, which is a trademark quality of all Sir Phyto extracts. So for all our sakes, let's hope for a bountiful apple harvest in the coming season.
Thanks, Mark.
Hello and
Oh,
welcome to...
hello again. No. Come back. Where did he go? There we go. So I hope you enjoyed that little video again. It's just nice to see where the ingredients come from. We use a very high percentage of organic, raw, whole food sources. And actually, these particular ingredients feed and care for the skin the same way a healthy diet of these same nutrients are good for our body. Are good for our bodies. And we also use antioxidants. Now, that apple extract, that is actually in step 2 of the Pure Daily system. It's in our antioxidant serum. But I just want to point something out to you, and that's this first bullet point here, is that oxidative damage caused by free radical exposure is responsible for up to 80% skin aging. That's pretty interesting when you think that, no other time in history other than today are we using more SPF on our entire bodies, really high SPF. So then you think, well, if we're protecting ourselves from UV radiation, why is that so high? The reason why it's so high is because unless your SPF has an antioxidant in it, let's say like green tea or vitamin E, you're not getting protection from free radicals. It's only protecting your skin from incoming radiation. So if you're using an SPF, do check the ingredient list just to make sure it has an antioxidant in it. If it doesn't, then you can pop the antioxidant serum on your skin first and then follow with the SPF. We do actually have an SPF radical protection, and we're hoping that that should be launched by the end of the first quarter next year through Orthomolecular. And then, of course, we all know that good fats are really good for us internally, but they are really crucial for healthy skin. Keratin and lipids are the two major components which help reinforce the skin barrier. Dr. Leslie Bowman states that over half the population are going around with a compromised barrier, meaning their skin's dry and it's alkaline, and it lacks lipids. So it's really crucial that we are feeding the skin from the outside in with topical nutrients in the form of cold-pressed oils, the same as you actually would take internally. So this is the first system. And although it's actually 3 products, it's more like 6 or 7, because the idea of being sustainable is you want to reduce, not increase. Plus, we're not really skin type specific, because at the end of the day, the 2 systems have been designed to support the skin's microbiome and, of course, bring the skin into that perfect pH environment. And it's actually interesting how many skin issues can really be helped just by doing those 2 very, very simple things. This is actually 6 to 8 weeks supply here, depending how much you use. Cleansers generally get used up more, particularly if you have makeup. So the good thing about that is that cleanser is sold separately. So let's look at the first product. This is where a lot of problems actually start with skin, and it's when you cleanse. And again, I've got some fabulous clinical studies that show that when you're cleansing your skin, you need to be cleansing it with a mildly acidic cleanser. Nothing that's alkaline, and certainly nothing with sulfates in it. What's happening today is, you saw those products at the beginning. People are sterilizing their skin. They're cleaning it morning and night with these products that are too alkaline. They have ingredients which strip the natural acidity from the surface of the skin. So it never has the opportunity, you know, to sort of come back from that. We are literally sterilizing our skin. So hey, here's an idea. Why don't we wash less? I know you're like, oh, trust a European to say that. But it's true. And again, there's some really interesting studies that show, hey, instead of showering morning and night, maybe just shower at night. You don't need to shower in the morning and use all those products on your skin. Well, unless you've, you know, been doing something fun, then maybe. But I think we are truly washing our skin too much. So this is a cleanser, and we actually went to doctors and focus groups who had been using the products for quite some time, and we said, what cleanser should we put in here? You tell us. Well, this particular one has been put through its paces on shows like the Chelsea Lately show. It's on at a bit of a watershed time, so you're probably y'all in your bed, sleeping, Mr. Sandman's visited. But this removes makeup really, really well. It's been used on everyone that was ever a guest on Chelsea's show has actually gone home with these products. But there's a technique to removing makeup, and you've just got to be patient. And all you need is just clean hands. You just massage it very gently into your skin. I'm sorry, gents, I know I've gone off pace here for you. And then just go downwards with your index fingers and then upwards to get the mascara off. And then just let the product do what it's supposed to do. It just breaks down all of that foundation, all of that Bobbi Brown black eyeliner and the Chanel Vamp red lipstick, and it just literally melts everything on your face. Come in with a clean, damp face cloth, no little cotton balls or anything like that, or one of those little squares. You need a nice big face cloth, and then remove it. If you've got a little bit of residue left, come in with a little bit more of that product, massage it over your skin, and then rinse again. Use properly, it works. But guess what? It's not just a makeup remover. It will also cleanse your skin as well. So you don't have to use makeup to use this. If you have slightly dry skin, this is perfect to use on your skin. And number 3, this doubles up as a real lovely conditioning face mask. You can add about a half teaspoonful of organic runny honey, or you can add, which is really, really nice, and it's a nice treat on the weekend, a nice dollop of organic whole fat yogurt. Mix it in with a cleanser, pop it on your skin, and it acts as an instant brightening mask. And it's the lactic acid from the yogurt that really synergizes beautifully with the mild acidity in the ingredients in there that gives it that natural brightening effect. So no hydroquinone, nothing nasty like that, and it didn't cost you anything. That's good.
How long are you talking about keeping
Just leave it on.
makeup?
Right, sorry?
When you're removing your makeup, how long do you keep it on?
And well, particularly if you're putting it over your eyes, you want to remove it immediately. You don't really, because it's sort of like, hang on a minute, where's the tap? And then you're falling in the toilet head first. So just if you're going to do your eyes, do that last. Keep it on the rest of your face for a little bit longer, maybe while you brush your teeth or whatever. And then do your eyes last, and then immediately remove it. And another little tip, if you, any ladies who like wearing a lot of mascara or eyeliner, use some eye drops afterwards when you've removed your makeup. This is just a little tip. Just pop the eye drop in and then put your head to one side, and then all that extra gunk that's floating in your eye that you don't always see because you're in such a hurry, just take a little tissue and remove it from the corner of the eye. And then on this side, just do the same again, and it will all collect in the corner, and then remove it again. Just a little tip. I know a lot of men that are wearing mascara, so, you know, I'm not going to point at any, well, not here, I don't think. Although you do have rather lush-looking eyelashes, Mr. Tom, doesn't he? You're either using Latisse or you're using a mascara. You're amongst friends, just, you can share with us, that's okay. So we don't just have one product, we've got 3 there, so that's good value for money, isn't it? And then you can see the key ingredients there. We've got an aloe vera base, and then we of course have shea butter. We've got hazelnut oil, which is mildly astringent. So even if you have acne, you can use this. It's a misnomer that anyone with acne should not be putting oil on their skin, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Gentlemen, a little tip for you. Does anyone wet shave? Hi there. Okay, so do you ever get skin irritation after you've used your shaving foam or your shaving soap? Maybe a little bit of redness? Well, that's because most shaving foams and soaps are in the stratosphere when it comes to pH. We're talking between 9 and 12. So remember, your skin likes 4.5 and 5. That is significant. And the pH scale is based upon a logarithmic scale. So every increase in 1 is actually a 10-fold increase. It's not just 1, it's times 10. You're going to grow? Nah, you wouldn't do, would you? Hide your nice sort of face, got lovely skin. Soaping him up. So what you want to do is to either get some olive oil or some extra virgin coconut oil from the kitchen. Pop that on your skin first, then put the shaving soap over the top, and it's going to do 2 things. One, it's going to soften the beard, so when you shave, you get a nice close shave. But most importantly, number 2, it acts as a barrier between your skin, your lovely baby soft, sensitive skin there, and also the very alkaline soap. So it does 2 things. It doesn't affect the shaving soap at all. So just start doing that, and honestly, it will make a difference. Okay, so you heard it here first. Okay, step 2 is an antioxidant serum. Wait, hey, sorry about that. Dr. Leslie Bowman, in her Skin Type Solution book, which is a very complicated book, it's all about skin typing and numbers and codes and letters and everything else. She actually states that if you're using green tea in a product, color counts. Most companies, if they're putting green tea into a product, they'll just put a tiny amount because they don't want it to shift from that beautiful crisp white color. So they'll just put a tiny bit in there. We don't care about the color, it's more about the results and the benefits to the skin. So this particular product here sports an amber color. So this is one of our hero products. This is what Elle magazine voted best natural anti-aging antioxidant serum. And to me, that was more prevalent because it was a group of professors of dermatology and dermatologists. So it, you know, it really did have some meaning. So that's step 2. Now the other thing is you can use it around your eyes instead of an eye serum. And also, if anyone suffers from a dry scalp, slightly dry, itchy, especially this time of year if we start to put heating on in the offices or at home, pop some of this over your scalp, just a couple of pumps, and work it into your scalp, because our scalp, and believe it or not, our hair really benefits from mild acidity also. Again, a lot of products that we're using to cleanse our hair is stripping the natural barrier from our scalp. So it's just a good tip, but it actually does work. There's no oils in this, so it's completely oil-free. It won't make your, the roots of your hair really oily, so don't worry about that. And then we've also had some doctors reporting that it's actually helping patients with keratosis pilaris. It's also known as chicken skin. We typically get it up here or just above our knees, and it's kind of bumpy and itchy. So we don't make the claim that it helps that skin type, but it's interesting to see how it actually is. And then this is step 3. This is a moisturizer. Now, you don't want a moisturizer to be really, really heavy. You don't need that. When skin is in a mildly acidic environment, it enables your skin to kickstart its own natural moisturizing factor. And it does a great job of hydrating the skin. But when you're using products that are alkaline, it can't do that. So you really want the formula to be kind of more on the light side. You want it to go into the skin, and you want it to stay there. You don't want it sitting on the surface and all greasy, and then you're trying to put makeup on, or gentlemen, you're going outside with a shiny face. But this has a star ingredient in it, and I know some of you are familiar with it. It's sea buckthorn seed oil. And we love it because it's full spectrum EFAs. You've got 3, 6, 9, and then you've got the very rare 7. And again, we've got lovely clinical studies that show that this is really beneficial for many, many different skin types. So a little bit goes a long, long way. So it's a facial moisturizer. You can use it on your hands. We have had people using it as a body moisturizer. We're coming out with a gorgeous body moisturizer at the beginning of next year, so that will mean that you don't have to use all your facial product. And then it also works as a hair conditioning product after you've blow dried it. Just rub some of it, start about halfway down the hair shaft, just take it all the way to the end, and it means you don't have to buy money. You don't have to spend money on buying a separate product for your hair. This is actually, this is an orthomolecular rep. And he, every year, I don't know if you can see it too well, but every year he gets seasonal contact dermatitis. So he used all 3 products on the back of his hands. He refrained from using soap. He just used that pure cleanser. Then he put the antioxidant serum on, and then he put the moisturizer. And that was, the redness started clearing up on day 2, and then by day 5, he could actually be a hand model. He's got better looking hands than I do. And again, I don't know if you can see this, but this lady on the left here, she'd had sensitive skin for years and years and years, and she spent a lot of money trying to find a nice natural sort of product that would help with the inflammation and the redness. Then a doctor introduced her to that, and within the end of the first week, she started noticing a reduction in the redness and the irritation in the skin. And again, I don't know if you can see this, but this is a model who works both in London and New York. Her agent really wanted to do something with her skin because she's stunning, but she was losing so much work. All those years of all those products and all those cosmetics, it really eventually took its toll, and her body and her skin absolutely revolted against her. So she went on the Pure Daily system, and then this was her at 30 days. Her skin looks dewy and moist, because she's using mildly acidic products, and it does that naturally. It makes your skin look dewy. Whereas again, if something's alkaline, it looks dry and brittle. So let's jump on to the second system. You're all being so patient. Thank you very much. So this next system is interesting because we didn't actually start it as an acne-specific product, and I'll get into that in a little while. But the industry is worth over $3 billion. And Proactive swoop up $1.5 billion of that business, which is pretty significant. When we started our research and development, we knew that we didn't want to use benzoyl peroxide because, remember, we're all about supporting the good bacteria and suppressing the bad. So we didn't want to use benzoyl peroxide because that acts like Agent Orange. It wipes everything out. And that's not good for the skin. So we knew we didn't want to use that. So just under 5 years, we were very lucky. We received funding to study the plant kingdom, looking for botanical versions of prebiotics. And at the end of the 4th year, we found that there were 3 that possessed really amazing prebiotic activity. And that was black currants, which are grown in England in a special soil. And then pine, who knew? And then ginseng. Ginseng, it wasn't as much as the other 2 botanicals, so we just ended up with the pine and the blackcurrant. But it was really interesting, the results that we got, and I'll share those with you. So the system is designed first and foremost to support skin-friendly bacteria. That's what it was originally designed for. But when we started doing in vivo and in vitro testing, we found that acne skin really responded well to it. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to use the term acne legally. So then we looked towards the FDA monograph, and they have benzoyl peroxide on there. We didn't want to use that. They had synthetic salicylic acid, didn't want to use that. We found that we could use a natural form of salicylic acid. So we use wintergreen, and that's actually made in Switzerland for us, and it's a really pure, high-quality form of salicylic acid. So that's why the salicylic acid is in there. So this is designed to help acne skin, but first and foremost, it really helps anti-aging issues as well. I actually use this system and the other system as well, and the 2 together work remarkably on anti-aging benefits. This is a before and after. Again, I don't know if you can see it with the bright lights, but Dr. Schlosser, which is not easy to say, from the American Academy of Dermatology, she recommends that acne skin should neither be pampered nor punished, and that you have to give it a minimum of 8 to 10 weeks to start to see any true benefits of the treatment that you're actually on. And this is Daniela. She'd had acne for years and years and years. This was her on the left, and then that was her at day 56 there. And it really changed her life tremendously. And she wrote me quite an emotional letter. And then you think, this is what we're here to do. It's to make a difference in people's lives. And I know y'all have experienced that with your own patients. That's what it's all about. That's why we're in this industry. This was an orthomolecular doctor again who sent in these before and after pictures. She responded very quickly. This is day 28 of this young lady's skin. And this is a most recent one, again from another orthomolecular doctor who has acne, and at day 28 she had responded really, really well. So a cleanser. We know a lot of people with acne really sort of like overly cleanse their skin. They get really, really aggressive with it. They're using the Clarisonic brushes with exfoliants and harsh cleansers. And again, you're punishing your skin. And when you're removing all of that oil in the process, it exasperates the body, so exasperates the problem. So the body produces more. And then you're on this sort of hamster cycle here, which is not good, and it's very frustrating. So this has naturally derived alpha hydroxy acids in it, which again is very good for aging skin. Then it has the topical prebiotics, which is good for any skin type, particularly that overrun by bad bacteria. So this is a cleanser, a gel-type cleanser, which is not advisable to use if you want to remove makeup. Use the pure cleanser first, and then come in and follow with this. Bless you. And then there's that recommendation from the American Academy of Dermatology, which basically states that you really want to be using mild cleansers, particularly acidic cleansers, and then you have to give it at least 8 to 10 weeks to start to see any benefits. Most people want things to happen instantly, and the truth of the matter is it just doesn't happen that fast. It's like when they start taking supplements internally, you have to give it a chance to work. So this is the drug. This is the Skin Restoring Antioxidant Serum. I use this every single night without fail. I travel all over with it, and I die if I ever run out of it. So this contains alpha hydroxy acids, topical prebiotics, and it's really, really simple to use. You can use it on your face, you can use it on any other areas where you may have acne breakouts. And I wanted to show you this clinical study because I want to show you how effective something so natural can work just as good as something that's more chemical laden. And this was a study that we did on both P. acnes and Staphylococcus aureus. And I might shock you in what I'm about to say, but acne is not caused by P. acnes bacteria. It's actually caused by Staphylococcus aureus. Again, if you want to see clinical studies, and they're very current, it's extremely compelling. So when you want to target a skin condition that's overrun with certain bacteria, you want to make sure that you're using ingredients that are going to suppress the bad but enhance the good. And that's essentially what this line does. So as you can see, at 30 seconds, it was 99.99% effective against P. acnes. And then again with Staphylococcus aureus. Now, brands like Proactive, they're only targeting P. acnes, but that's just half of the problem, of course, for acne skin. And I wanted to show you, again, exactly same study, same protocols in the test here. And as you can see, at 30 seconds, it was only 75% effective against P. acnes, and it took well over an hour in order for that to be effective against P. acnes. And again, I'm showing that because I want to demonstrate how amazing some of these more natural ingredients, they're not chemically derived, work very, very well. And this was against Murad, and it shows that we compare to Murad, except we have different ingredients. And of course, we're focusing on suppressing the bad and enhancing the good, and making sure that everything remains mildly acidic. Another interesting note, anyone who has acne should not be using any products over 5.5, because that's the perfect environment for the P. acnes bacteria to start proliferating and having a party on your skin. And most of these bacteria thrive in an alkaline environment, particularly Staphylococcus aureus. They thrive in it. So it's all very well having that ingredient which targets, cleaning out the pores like salicylic acid. But unless it's the right pH, again, you're only addressing part of the problem. And I get asked about this particular product that was launched back in 2013. Now, 2.5% benzoyl peroxide is significant, particularly for anyone with sensitive skin. This particular brand has 10%. That's ouch. That makes my eyes water, that one. And here's number 3, the moisturizer. We have a moisturizer in this kit because even with natural salicylic acid, some people can experience a natural sort of dryness. So in order to keep them compliant, we wanted to put this in there. But this contains 2 star ingredients. We have natural retinol inside this particular product. And there are probably 2 ingredients you may never have heard about. But again, if you want the clinical studies, I'm happy sharing them with you. And that is Biden's pilosa and bakuchiol. And the clinical studies are absolutely overwhelming. So you've got ingredients in there that are suppressing the bad, enhancing the good, and guess what? You've got fabulous anti-aging ingredients in there too. So if you have any patients that, experience late onset acne, most times women get very upset about that because we have to give up, our lovely, very expensive anti-aging products that have got all those magical ingredients in it. Well, now you can go on this system and you're still getting your anti-aging benefits from all of these lovely ingredients. So those 2 ingredients are pretty significant. And also it means that even somebody with sensitive skin can still receive those benefits without the downside, which I think is pretty good. This is a plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills, and you have to ask yourself, why would a plastic surgeon be using, products like this? pre and post-surgical. Well, the reason why he does it is because he wants to pull the skin into a really healthy state. So he wants to enhance the good bacteria, he wants the pH just perfect, and then he puts the patients on it afterwards, because the idea is he wants to speed up healing. When you've got something that's alkaline or it's laden with chemicals, it slows the healing of the skin. And then this, of course, is Dr. Perlmutter, who very generously gave us a nice testimonial in his brain book. And again, why would you think a neurologist is selling products like this? It's because he gets it. He understands that he's doing a fabulous job of cleaning up his patients' diets and their supplements, but they're going home and they're exposing themselves to 47 or just under 100,000 chemicals every year. And he got that, so that's why he sells, and he actually recommends us, which is great. And I think I've come to the end. I hope I haven't talked too long, have I? You're still awake, so thank you very much. Thank you.